Broadcasting live from somewhere in the Shadow Realm, this is YuGiOh Deck Talk. Here's your host, Doug Dimmaduel.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of YuGiOh Deck Talk. Well, folks, it happened. Just like that, we got hit with more of an emergency ban list from Konami, basically with new limited cards, unlimited cards that they've changed the rules to, and a new forbidden card on the list. So, 6 of the cards in total were affected, so I want to take a look at each of the cards that were affected. Now, the big one here was Elder Entity Norden, which was currently limited to only 1, but now it is forbidden. That's right, you can no longer use Elder Entity Norden as of June 12th, 2017. That's when this new ban list takes effect. So what Elder Entity Norden was the level 4 fusion monster with 2000 attack, 2200 defense. It was water, and it required 1 synchro or Xyz monster and 1 synchro or Xyz monster. When this card is special summoned, you can target 1 level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. Also banish it when this card leaves the field. Now, the main strategy behind Elder Entity Norden was basically for quick Xyz plays where you're able to just pull another level 4 monster out of your graveyard, Xyz summon using Elder Entity Norden to overlay, and get a wide range of cards. And because it is a water type as well, it really opened up a combo play for you to get Totally Awesome, which I know is a card that a lot of people love to use if they're able. So Elder Entity Norden, now that it will be a forbidden card. Another card that has gone from unlimited down to limited, which means you will only be able to use 1, is Speedroid Terror Top. Now, this was a level 3 machine with 1200 attack, 600 defense, and its effect is if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. When this card is normal or special summoned, you can add 1 Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, except Speedroid Terror Top. You can only use this effect of Speedroid Terror Top once per turn. So it's gone from 3 to 1, so this one is now limited as well. And the last card that has gone from unlimited to limited is the spell card, That Grass Looks Greener. And what this card does is, if you have more cards in your deck than your opponent does, send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard so you have the same number of cards in the deck as your opponent. So this is a pretty big hit, going down from 3 to 1. Now that it's limited to 1, you're seeing a lot of decks being built right now that are 60 card decks that are relying heavily on specifically That Grass Looks Greener to start going through your deck and start having a lot of your graveyard type monsters already sitting in there, especially if you're going up against an opponent who's keeping their deck around 40 cards. You already had a 20 card differential that you're able to use That Grass Looks Greener on if you run a 60 card deck. So I've been seeing this strategy being used a lot more. This card was worth quite a bit. So now we're going to see, seems like we're going to see quite a hit on the value of this card. So, that's a lot of the bad news, or I guess in some cases that's a lot of the good news for the cards that have been banned. I'm not sure how this will currently impact the way people are building their decks. I know all 3 of these cards that have been impacted have been being used heavily within competitive play, so it's going to be interesting to see how people are going to tweak their strategies now that now 2 of these cards are limited and 1 is now forbidden. So. But also there are other changes, and that is to 3 other cards that were either limited or semi-limited. They are now fully unlimited. Now you could run 3 of these. So the first one that was limited and now is unlimited is Perform Pal Skullcrobat Joker. It was a level 4 Pendulum Spellcaster type monster with 1800 attack, 100 defense, Pendulum Scale of 8. Its Pendulum effect is you cannot Pendulum summon monsters except Perform Pal monsters, Magician Pendulum monsters, and Odd Eyes monsters. This effect cannot be negated. And its card text is, when this card is normal summoned, you can add 1 Perform a Pal monster, Magician Pendulum monster, or Odd Eyes monster from your deck to your hand, except Perform a Pal Skullcrobat Joker. So this is this is going to be pretty helpful for those Performa Pal type decks as well. Now the other card that got affected too, which was originally semi-limited, which means you're only allowed to have 2 in your deck. Now it's back up to 3. It is Wisdom Eye Magician, and it was a level 4 spellcaster pendulum monster, pendulum scale of 5, 1500 attack, 1500 defense. Its pendulum effect is if you have a Magician or Performa Pal card in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy this card, and if you do, place 1 Magician pendulum monster from your deck in your pendulum zone, except Wisdom Eye Magician. And its card text is, you can discard this card, then target 1 card in your pendulum zone whose current pendulum scale is different from its original pendulum scale. Its pendulum scale becomes its original pendulum scale until the end of this turn. And so that's the other monster that has been moved back to unlimited, so you can now run 3 Wisdom Eye Magicians instead of 2. And the third card that has been changed from limited to unlimited, so now instead of just running 1, you can now run 3, is the normal spell card Pendulum Call. Now what this one does is discard 1 card, add 2 Magician Pendulum monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. Also, until the end of your opponent's next turn after this card resolves, Magician cards in your Pendulum zones cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can only activate 1 Pendulum Call per turn. You cannot activate this card if you activated a Magician monster's Pendulum effect this turn. So, it seems like all around a pretty big change to the Magician Performa Pal type of deck build in a good way for them. So I guess they're trying to get seems like they're trying to get some of these Pendulum decks back up to speed, get them a little more competitive now. It seems like they took a huge hit in the past. I know Performa Pal Monkey Board has not been. I think that one still has the big hit on it. That one has not changed, but these other 3. Wisdom Eye Magician, Pendulum Call, and Performa Pal Skullcrobat Joker. All 3 of those now are unlimited, so feel free to run up to 3 of each of those now in your decks. So, again, this is a pretty interesting shakeup. I know that they have another ban list coming out no later than this August. At least that's what it says on the Konami website. So we'll be keeping an eye out for future ban lists. But I'd like to know what you folks think as well about all these changes. Good, bad, or you're loving it or hating it. Send me a tweet on Twitter at YuGiOh Deck Talk. It's all one word, at YuGiOh Deck Talk. I'm curious to hear what you have to say as well. So with that, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Take care.